Wow. That was actually a pretty darn good race. Remember, I have to not be explicit for at least the first 30 seconds because of the freaking YouTube algorithm. But I'm all hopped up on some Jolly Ranchers. These gummies, I actually need to go by Costco to get a giant package of it because the cost of just a small little box, it's stupid. And then I'm also got some Bai juice here. It's actually really good stuff. I've been giving it to my daughter until she wasn't going to sleep. And then I started reading the bottle that it has caffeine in it. It's about a half a cup of coffee of caffeine. So that is a dad fail on my part. However, without digressing anymore, Deegan. Dude, I'm honestly thinking that this little shit is gonna win the series. He's gonna win the 250 motocross championship against somebody like Hunter. And why do I say that? Because the dynamic has sort of flipped between the 450 class and the 250 class. And here, let me explain. In the 450 class, you've got Sexton, who's probably tired as hell of being everyone talking about, can you beat Jett? Why are you just finishing second? Every podium, every interview, it's always like, what happened? What did you do wrong? No. He just can't get it done, and he keeps falling down. But we'll get into that. You've got Jett pretty much forcing a mistake on Sexton every single time, every moto that he's been in here. And now you're seeing Deegan finally getting to the point where he forced Hunter to make a mistake. That's all I saw there, is Hunter wasn't taking a line that was typical. He was doing really well in the racing, coming from behind, and that track was so hard to pass on, and especially with the shadows, they went over it. You might as well just stare into the sun and try to ride your motorcycle because you can't see anything. So the chances of trying to make a pass on that section is just boring. The racing action is not that much fun with that many shadows, just plain and simple. Even with high definition television, things that are at 1080p right now, right? Most broadcasting, they can't afford the bandwidth for, 4K and even 8K. We've got some like 16K TVs. Anyway, that's a little stupid technical part that I'm all in. Until we have like a quantum computer for broadcasting, it's not going to happen. Anyway, they should just have the races earlier in the day to where there's not that many shadows. It would make racing so much better. Guys wouldn't fall down as much and whatever. But pretty much little Hayden broke Hunter at that point. He shows that he has the speed. And here, let's look at the times. Okay, this is qualifying for 250. Hayden is here with a 2:15.2, right? He's third place in qualifying. This is literally his best qualifying time. If I'd have to go back, I'm saying that this is one of the better qualifyings for him. Usually he's right around 7 to 12, even when he won. What did he do in that last moto? He went around Cooper as if there was team orders going on, and they were like, hey, Cooper, I know you're only 16 points behind, but Hayden's super popular, so you need to let him by. That's what it looked like, because he just rode right around him. And then you look at the lap times, and it's like, nope, I'm effing wrong. You just have him hit the hammer, and he does his fastest lap of the entire moto, lap 13. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, the maturity of your body, your physiology for being able to do like more endurance sports is right around age 25 to realistically, you see a lot of runners and etc. They start going from speed specific stuff to longer endurance things right around 26 to even 38. That's kind of your prime. You see a lot of cyclists, etc. That is where it's at. And if this kid is able to push this hard already at 17, dude, everybody was so wrong about this kid, from his futures to, his future Supercross performance to moving forward. You've got guys like Faulkner. Like, what happened to freaking Faulkner? Faulkner, man, talk about like having a brief moment in time where you were the shit, then everything is just falling apart. I know we've talked quite a bit on my podcast as far as he's got a 450 gig guaranteed at least for at least 1 year, and maybe you should take it because the 250 class has kind of moved on without him. But my point is Deegan has a good shot of winning the championship, of beating Hunter, because the last 4 or 5 races, Hunter has just almost fallen apart. Bad luck, and then just little things happen. There is a 3-point swing right now, a 3-point swing, meaning you beat him, you get first in a moto, somebody else gets second, you're tied in the championship. This is interesting. The 450 class is not that interesting. The 250 class is where it's at. Hey, I do have to thank my show sponsor for this. I've got somebody that decided to come on board, and we have Precision Transport Inc. And this is a freight company. So if you're building a motocross or supercross and need to bring a lot of dirt or big heavy equipment, make sure to give these guys a call. They will give you a good estimate right up front. Regardless, whatever, anything bulk that you need shipped, these guys will be able to do it for you. Make sure you give them a call at 877-827-0618. Precision Transport Inc. They are riders. They help everybody out. So if you want to support a business that helps motocross, they sponsor guys, they sponsor professional guys on the series, make sure you head over to them. They've got a link in my description. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the 450 class, right? And first thing that pops out of your mind is, yes, Sexton has the speed, but he just can't put it together. He just falls apart at something. And it's unfortunate that you've got somebody like Jett coming through and is making him look bad. Literally, in one of the interviews, says that he slowed down at Spring Creek to let him catch him, to then speed back up to sort of force a mistake. What kind of confidence is that from a 19-year-old? What is up with these guys, 17 and 19? I know the world is sort of forcing people to mature faster than before because of, I don't know, is it our economy, socially? Is it just our technology? I don't know what it is, but kids these days are sort of being forced to mature faster. And it's so cool that we're watching what Stewart and Carmichael did for the sport, as far as what Carmichael's just, hey, I'm just going to train harder than everybody. And then you got Stewart that's, hey, I'm going to do the Bubba Scrub. I'm going to show you different stuff. Now we've got Jett that every one of my videos, I'm talking about some crazy line that he's doing, hopping here and there. Like, he is changing the sport. And make sure you tune in for this week's lines and mistakes, because I definitely caught some stuff here. But what is Sexton going to have to do? I honestly, Cooksey and I have a bet going. I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's going to be able to beat him. And it's a bummer that Sexton keeps having to answer these questions by, how can you beat him? How can you beat him? I don't think he can. Except for on the start. Let's talk a little bit about the start here. Let me get to the rules, because I was a little bit like, hey, favoritism. It's kind of what I was looking for. Is I was like, dude, the gate dropped. It wasn't as if it stopped and, people ran into it and the gates just physically didn't drop, because we've seen that happen before, and we've seen not a restart. So I guess give it up to the sport for trying to make things as fair as possible. However, at first I was going, this seems like favoritism, because you've got the one dude that could potentially beat Jett, and he didn't get a good start. He hit the gate and then left in kind of last place. The gate was held long. And so it's literally, the board is 30 seconds. So it could be 5 to 30 seconds before they go. You could fry your clutch, which a lot of people probably did. Those 2 strokes probably definitely fried some clutches. Having that sucker wide open and it's going to happen. It's going to get hot and whatever. But it made me think, if this was a privateer, would they have restarted the race? right? But everyone's got radios, and that's sucker. They're going to go, hey, Sexton, he hit the gate. It flinched. It was the gate's fault. Da-da-da-da-da. But it sounded as if it was a issue that was going on all day, and so they were doing something. So I looked into the rules, okay? So let's look into the rules. And it literally says in section 213, this is page 13 of 65, that in case of a false start, gate malfunction, or other contributing factor, a race will be restarted with the riders returning to the original starting position. Okay, so it literally says it in there, right? Literally says that's what it happened. So whatever I just said about favoritism is out the effing window. That's just isn't a thing. But I will point out, I did it in my video last week, as far as Sexton is trying freaking everything he can, starting on the inside of somebody. So guys, if you are having a hard time beating somebody that is faster than you, you start on the inside of them, because you might not be able to have a faster lap time than them, but you might be able to have a better reaction time than them. So it was cool to hear Stewart say, hey, all you need to do is get a little jump and move over. I'm like, sweet, dude. Stewart is such a great broadcaster with some of his one-liners. It just makes me smile. I want to have a beer with the dude. Even though I don't drink, I just want to have a beer with him. Because he's funny as hell. Go subscribe to his podcast. It's really, really good. It's really, really good. I can actually learn quite a bit from that guy, as I have growing up watching him ride. Was I ever able to implement any of the things? No, but I could give it my best. So anyway, I digress. I will say something, though, about what he said with Ty Masterpool. Why do we have to say that this is such a stock bike? Stock bike. Honestly, guys, factory bikes, they don't just all of a sudden make 100 horsepower more than another motorcycle. That is old school technology of let's just big bore the hell out of it, blah, blah, blah. It's cheap. Yes, it'll make the bike faster, but it's harder to ride. It vibrates more. It's going to blow up easier. Just the whole shebang. Really, where everything is in that makes these factory bikes so much better is the testing and the customization of these motorcycles and the ECU. It's all about power delivery. So when he said that having that stock motorcycle or stock motor would make it easier to ride because it wouldn't slip as much, it blew my lid, because it's like, okay, factory bikes, yes, can make more horsepower. Abso-effing-lutely. But more than that, they make usable power. Why do you think somebody like Blake Baggett, who was a total of 110 pounds, I'm over-exaggerating, the kid was really more like 130 to 140, but how was he so fast on a 450? It's because he had usable power. Those bikes are too fast to use the power. Even somebody like Sexton, who is damn near 200 pounds, who can definitely manhandle that bike, a 450 is just too fast. It's just too fast. That's why you see a lot of these 250s making really the same lap times. Okay, so here's 450s. You've got Jett, 214. He's the only rider inside the 214. But then when you come to the 250s, you've got two riders in 214. And then you've got Deegan and all of the rest of them that are doing the same lap times as Sexton and some of the other guys, right? 215.8, right? Okay, so if I'm just going in depth, the top five guys, even Faulkner had the same lap time as Chase Sexton. It's because those guys can ride those motorcycles because they can ride them to the limit. Because it's like why a 125 is so much fun to ride, because it's not scary and you can just have it WFO the entire time. 450s, too much freaking power. So that's what I have to say about that. Also, the sport is doing exactly what they planned on doing. They've got some very smart people running the sport with this Super Motocross Championship, and they're making it a scarcity principle in order to get in. What is a scarcity principle? Have you ever been trying to buy a bike from Craigslist or something, and the dude tells you, hey, this is a two-stroke, it's $1,000. If you want it, you gotta give me the cash now because I got 4 people coming to get it. Well, you're probably going to freak out and go, yeah, absolutely. Here, take it. I don't want to miss out. That's what they've done. They have created fear for these guys not being able to qualify for big money, for an extra $5 million at the end of the year if they're not inside the top 20. So you've got guys that have contracts for World Supercross coming over here, and truthfully, I bet guys like Colt Nichols and McElrath, those guys have more of a stock motorcycle than Ty. I'm just saying it because Ty has been testing, doing everything he can, still major privateer effort, but these guys that are not on, they've got shroud covers of their World Supercross sponsor teams, but, they just don't have the resources to just bring a full-blown tested motorcycle for motocross out here because you're not going to put your Supercross bike out there. It's just not going to happen. Even though I do think something like WASHOUGAL probably has gearing very low because of the hills and the switchbacks and everything. But, that's sort of where I'm going with that whole thing is they've created a fear. So now you have to come back, make some points so that you can have an opportunity to make good money. Incredible marketing strategy. Absolutely incredible marketing strategy. That honestly, I think is cool. And it's just going to build with, and here, let's, before I let everyone go, Carson Brown, I believe was the dude that took home all the cash for the 250. Let's look at this. Can I zoom in here? First 250. Anthony Rodriguez was 22nd. Oh my goodness, dude. He was so close to beating Carson Brown, who was 21st. Oh, here. Let me move this a little bit here and let me zoom in so people who can see. Okay, so here, let me just make sure that I'm actually doing this correctly because it's live here. I was really hoping Jerry Robin, if you watch our podcast, he ended up going 40th and 38th here. And then I know a lot of people were big fans of Kevin Moran's for 26th. What was his moto scores? 28 and 26. But it went home to the Red Bull rider Carson Brown with an 18-21 score. And Anthony Rodriguez was a 21-20. Where was Hand? Because I know he did really, really well. Where is that? Jeremy Hand. Okay, he did a 23-39, so that second moto screwed him over. But Carson made some points. He was inside the top 20. Congratulations to that guy. That dude he needs a team. He freaking needs a team. Definitely needs a team. But, hey, you guys have always been awesome. You have been too kind to me. I sincerely appreciate it. Make sure you go get some freaking Jolly Ranchers because these things are the gummies. Got to make sure you get the gummies. That's where it's at. This is it. My daughter actually threw this in the cart, and she's probably pissed. If you heard at the beginning, she was hitting the door that I have stolen her candy. But I did earlier give her a bunch of caffeine, which was probably not very good parenting. I'm not going to do that again. Anyway. Till next time, bra-da-da-da-da-whoa.